Edgar Degas was a famous French artist, known for his beautiful paintings, drawings, and sculptures. He was born in Paris, France, in 1834. As a child, Edgar loved art. His family supported his love for art, and he started taking art classes when he was young. He went to a special school for art, where he learned many things about painting and drawing. He wanted to become a great artist, and he worked very hard to make his dream come true. When Edgar was older, he went to a famous art school in Paris, called the École des Beaux-Arts. At this school, he learned to paint in a traditional way, following the rules of art that artists used for many years. But Edgar also had his own ideas. He did not want to paint only in the old style. He wanted to create new and different kinds of art. He was not afraid to try new things, and this made him special. One of Edgar's most famous works is his paintings of ballet dancers. He loved to watch ballet performances in Paris. The dancers fascinated him, and he wanted to show the beauty of their movements. He painted many pictures of dancers practicing or performing on stage. In these paintings, he captured the grace and movement of the dancers. He often painted them in interesting positions, showing them from the side or from the back. His paintings of ballet dancers became some of his most famous works. Edgar did not only paint dancers. He also painted many other things. He liked to paint people in everyday situations. He painted people in cafes, people on the street, and people at the races. He enjoyed capturing the movement and energy of life in his art. He was especially interested in the way people moved and how light and shadow looked on them. Many of Edgar's paintings show people in action. He often painted people who were busy doing something, like dancing, walking, or riding horses. He wanted to show movement in his art, and he used different techniques to do this. He liked to paint quickly and use short brush strokes. This made his paintings look like they were full of energy and life. He was always looking for new ways to show how people moved and interacted with each other. In addition to painting, Edgar also made sculptures. He loved to create three-dimensional art. One of his most famous sculptures is of a young dancer. This sculpture shows a ballerina in a beautiful pose, with her body bent and her arms raised. The sculpture is very detailed and shows the movement of the dancer's muscles and body. This work is a good example of Edgar's interest in movement and his ability to capture it in art. Edgar Degas was a part of a group of artists called the Impressionists. The Impressionists were a group of painters who wanted to show the world in a new way. They did not want to paint in the traditional way, with perfect lines and careful details. Instead, they wanted to show what things looked like in the moment, with bright colors and loose brush strokes. The Impressionists were interested in light and how it changed throughout the day. They painted outdoors in nature to capture the changing light. However, Degas did not always follow the Impressionist style. While he was friends with many of the Impressionists, he did not paint outdoors like they did. Instead, he often painted inside, focusing on people and their movements. Edgar's art was very different from the traditional art of his time. He showed people and places in a way that had never been seen before. People were amazed by his work. Some of his paintings were very different from what people expected. For example, he painted a picture of a woman in a bath, with her back to the viewer. This was not a common subject for artists in those days. But Edgar was not afraid to try new ideas. Even though Edgar Degas is now known as one of the most important artists in the world, his life as an artist was not always easy. At first, people did not always understand his work. Some people thought his paintings were too different from traditional art. But over time, more and more people began to appreciate his unique style. Today, his paintings, drawings, and sculptures are in museums all around the world. His work has inspired many artists, and people still love to look at his art today. Edgar Degas worked very hard throughout his life. He spent many years creating art, always trying to make it better and more interesting. He was not afraid to experiment with new ideas and new techniques. His work has helped shape the way artists think about movement, light, and color. Even though Edgar lived a long time ago, his art is still important and admired today. In his later years, Edgar's health began to get worse. He had problems with his eyes and his vision. This made it hard for him to see the details in his paintings. But even with these problems, he continued to work. He began to focus more on sculpture and started creating more three-dimensional art. He did not stop creating, even when it was difficult. Edgar Degas passed away in 1917 at the age of 83. He left behind a huge collection of art, and his works continue to be loved and admired by people all over the world. His paintings, sculptures, and drawings tell stories about the beauty of movement, light, and life. Today, when people think about the great artists of the 19th century, Edgar Degas is always remembered as one of the most important and influential artists of his time. Edgar Degas' art has left a lasting mark on the world. His work is celebrated for its innovation, beauty, and ability to capture life in motion. His paintings of dancers, people in everyday life, and his sculptures continue to inspire new generations of artists and art lovers. Even though he lived a long time ago, his art still speaks to us today. It shows us the importance of looking at the world in new ways, and always trying to capture the beauty in the world around us.